Growing up, I was taught that family comes first. Always. No matter what. So when I created our family emergency fund 3 years ago, I believed I was doing what any caring daughter would do. I used my software engineer's salary to build a safety net for everyone I loved, contributing 30% of my income every month, because that is what family does for each other. But last Thursday, one group text message changed everything forever. Before I share what happened next, let me know where you are watching from in the comments below. Hit that like button if you believe family should stick together, and subscribe, because this story shows why financial independence matters more than you think. Now, let me tell you about the text that shattered my world. My name is Sienna, and at 28 years old, I work as a senior software engineer for a major tech company here in Austin, Texas. I make $145,000 a year, live in a modest one-bedroom apartment, and drive a 5-year-old Honda Civic that I bought with cash. While my coworkers spend their paychecks on expensive dinners and weekend trips, I have always sent $3,500 home every single month to our family fund. My family comes from a small town in Kansas where my dad Harold works as an electrician and my mom Dorothy keeps books for a local accounting firm part-time. Money has never been easy for them, especially after Dad had that accident at work 3 years ago that left him with medical bills we could never have imagined. That is when I decided to create what I called our Family Emergency Fund, a joint savings account that would protect all of us from financial disasters. The fund started with my own money, but I invited everyone to contribute whatever they could manage. Dad and Mom add $50 each month. My younger sister Amanda puts in $25 when she remembers, and my brother Brandon contributes $100 since he got married to Jessica last year. In 3 years, I have personally contributed over $127,000 to this account, while the rest of the family combined has added maybe $8,000 total. This fund has been our lifeline more times than I can count. When Dad needed surgery after his accident, we covered the $12,000 deductible without blinking. When Brandon wanted to buy his first house, we provided the down payment. When Amanda needed tuition money for her nursing prerequisites, the fund was there. I managed everything myself, kept detailed spreadsheets, and made sure every penny was accounted for because this money represented our family's security. Amanda is 24 now and just found out she is pregnant. Her boyfriend Tyler does not have steady work, jumping between gig economy jobs and big dreams that never seem to materialize. When Amanda came to the family asking for $15,000 to cover her medical expenses and baby preparations, I was ready to approve it immediately because pregnancy definitely counts as an emergency in my book. But then Tyler had what he called a brilliant idea. Instead of just using the money for medical bills and baby expenses, he wanted to take the entire amount and invest it in some online business opportunity he had discovered. According to him, we could double or triple the money within 6 months, which would give Amanda even more financial security for the baby. I said no. Not because I do not want Amanda to have financial security, but because our family fund exists for emergencies, not investments. I explained that mixing emergency savings with speculative business ventures goes against every principle of responsible financial planning. I offered to help Amanda with the medical expenses as originally requested, but I would not approve using emergency funds for Tyler's business scheme. Amanda did not take my decision well. She started crying on our family video call, telling everyone that I was being controlling and acting like I was their parent instead of their sister. She said I was holding the family hostage with money and that Tyler's idea could solve all our financial problems forever. Brandon and Jessica immediately jumped to Amanda's defense. Jessica, who has never contributed a single dollar to our fund, told me I was being too rigid with money and that I needed to trust family members to make good decisions. Brandon said I was treating Amanda like a child and that pregnant women deserve support, not judgment. My parents tried to stay neutral at first, but I could see Mom leaning toward Amanda's side. She kept saying things like, maybe we should consider all options, and Tyler seems very confident about this opportunity. Dad stayed mostly quiet, which was unusual for him, but his silence felt louder than words. The biggest shock came from my Aunt Linda, my mother's sister, who has always been my closest confidant. Linda was the one who encouraged me to pursue engineering, who listened to my problems when I felt overwhelmed by family responsibilities, who I thought understood me better than anyone else. But during this call, she openly supported Tyler's business idea, saying, "The girl needs to learn to let go and trust other people to make decisions." I felt completely isolated. Here was my entire family, the people I had been supporting financially for years, all lined up against what I considered basic common sense. The family meeting that was supposed to be about helping Amanda had turned into an intervention about my supposed control issues. The call ended when Amanda hung up first, followed by an awkward silence where nobody knew what to say. Brandon muttered something about thinking it over and disconnected. Jessica did not even say goodbye. Mom tried to smooth things over with some comment about sleeping on it, but her heart was not in it. Dad just stared at his camera with an expression I could not read. That night, I lay awake thinking about how 3 years of sacrifice had led to this moment. I remembered all the vacations I had skipped, all the overtime I had worked, all the times I had chosen to transfer money to the family fund instead of building my own savings. And now, when I tried to protect that money from what seemed like an obvious scam, I was the villain. Thursday afternoon found me sitting in a client meeting, reviewing code architecture for a major project deadline. My phone was on silent, but I saw it light up with notifications from our family group chat called Family Squad. I figured someone was sharing baby update photos or planning weekend dinner, so I waited until the meeting ended before checking the messages. What I saw made my hands shake. There was a message from my mom that read, "Hi sweetie, after talking it through as a family, we think it is best you step away from family decisions for now. Amanda needs support, not judgment. Please respect our choice." I stared at that message for a full minute, reading it over and over again. After talking it through as a family. They had held a family meeting about me without me. They had discussed my role in family decisions and concluded that I should be excluded. The very family I had been financially supporting for 3 years had voted to remove me from having any say in how we operated. Within seconds of Mum's message appearing, I watched Aunt Linda react with a thumbs up emoji. Not a heart, not a sad face, not even a neutral response. A thumbs up as if she was saying, "Good riddance" to my involvement in family matters. The woman who used to call me her favorite niece was publicly celebrating my exclusion. Then Brandon added his own message. "Maybe take a break from the family calls too. Amanda is stressed enough." My brother, whose house down payment had come entirely from my contributions to the fund, was now telling me to stay away from family conversations because my presence was somehow harmful to our pregnant sister. Jessica, who again has never contributed anything to our family's financial well-being, added a heart reaction to Mom's original message. Even my sister-in-law was voting to push me out of family decisions. The only person who did not respond at all was Dad. His silence hurt almost as much as everyone else's active participation in my dismissal. The man who used to call me the rock of this family could not even acknowledge what was happening. I found myself sitting in the company bathroom crying for the first time in years, not just because my feelings were hurt, but because I realized how completely they had misunderstood our entire relationship. They saw my financial contributions as some kind of power grab instead of sacrifice. They viewed my careful management of our emergency fund as control instead of responsibility. As I sat there, memories flooded back. All the times I had eaten ramen noodles for dinner so I could send extra money home. The vacation to Europe I had cancelled when Amanda needed help with car repairs. The countless hours I had spent researching investment options to make their money grow safely. Every sacrifice I had made was now being painted as evidence of my controlling nature. But then something shifted in my thinking. If they wanted me to step away from family decisions, then I would step away completely. Not just from decision-making, but from the financial responsibility that came with it. They could not exclude me from choices while still expecting me to fund those choices. I wiped my tears, took a deep breath, and typed my response carefully. Understood. I will respect that and step away from the family fund too. I sent the message at 3:47 p.m. and immediately put my phone in my purse. I did not want to see their reactions. I did not want to watch them backtrack or try to explain that they did not mean the money part. Their message had been clear about wanting me to step away, so I was stepping away from everything. The drive home felt surreal. I kept thinking about how quickly everything had changed. This morning I had woken up as the responsible daughter who kept everyone financially safe. By afternoon I had become the controlling sister who needed to be excluded from family decisions. And now by evening I was becoming someone entirely different, a person who was about to prioritize her own financial future for the first time in years. I skipped dinner and spent the evening researching bank procedures for closing joint accounts. I downloaded every transaction record from the past 3 years, creating a detailed spreadsheet that showed exactly how much I had contributed versus how much others had put in. The numbers were even more stark than I had remembered. 85% of the fund came from my contributions alone. At 11:30 p.m., I called the bank's 24-hour customer service line. The representative was very helpful in explaining the process for closing a joint account when you are the primary account holder. Since I had opened the account and maintained signature authority, I could close it immediately with proper identification and account verification. The process took longer than expected because the large balance required additional security verification. At 12:30 a.m., I had to speak with a supervisor who confirmed that I wanted to transfer $127,000 to my personal savings account. The supervisor asked 3 times if I was under any duress or being coerced, standard procedure for large transfers. Finally, at 1:15 a.m., the transaction was complete. Our family emergency fund no longer existed. Every penny that I had contributed over 3 years was now back in my personal account, where it would be safe from Tyler's business schemes and family pressure. I forwarded the email confirmation to our family group chat without adding any message of my own. As I finally got ready for bed, I felt a strange mixture of emotions. Sadness that it had come to this point. Relief that I no longer had to defend every financial decision to people who contributed almost nothing. And determination to build a life where my value was not measured solely by how much money I could provide to others. At 2:15 a.m., my phone started buzzing with an incoming call from Amanda. I was finally falling asleep after the emotional roller coaster of the day, so I declined the call and tried to settle back down. Immediately, the phone rang again. This time it was Brandon calling. I declined his call too and switched my phone to silent mode, but I could see the screen lighting up over and over with incoming calls. By 3:30 a.m., Mom was calling repeatedly, followed by Dad, then Aunt Linda. The calls kept coming in waves, one after another, like they were taking turns trying to reach me. Text messages started flooding in too. Amanda's first text said, "Sienna, what did you do?" followed by, "Call me back right now." Brandon wrote, "This is insane. You cannot just close the account without warning." Mom's texts were longer and more panicked. "Honey, please answer your phone. Something has gone wrong with the bank account. We need to talk immediately." I turned my phone face down and buried it under a pillow, but I could still see the light flashing through the fabric. Even with earplugs in, I could hear the vibration against my nightstand every few seconds. This continued until nearly 5 a.m. when exhaustion finally won over anxiety, and I managed to fall asleep for about 2 hours. When I woke up at 7 a.m., my phone showed 89 missed calls and 47 text messages. The voicemail notification showed 16 new messages waiting. I made coffee first, needing caffeine, before I could face whatever panic had consumed my family overnight. Dad's voicemail was first, and his voice was shaking in a way I had never heard before. "Sienna, what happened?" "The bank flagged everything. They said the account is closed. Call me back immediately. We need to figure this out." The next voicemail was from Amanda, sobbing hysterically. "How could you do this to me? I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow and they need the deposit. You cannot just take away money when I am pregnant. This is so cruel." Brandon's message was angry. "This is completely out of line. You cannot hold the family hostage like this. Jessica is right. You have serious control issues and this proves it." But it was Mom's voicemail that really got to me. Her voice sounded small and confused. "Honey, please, there has been a misunderstanding. We did not mean the money part. We just thought maybe Amanda needed some space to make decisions without feeling judged. Can you please call me back so we can fix this?" Aunt Linda had left a text instead of a voicemail. "This is extreme, Sienna. Family does not abandon family like this. You are hurting people who love you." More voicemails revealed the full scope of their panic. Brandon had planned to use the fund next month for his nursing school final semester tuition. Amanda's medical insurance had denied a claim, leaving her with a $3,500 bill due immediately. Mom and Dad had been counting on the fund to cover a major car repair that they could not afford on their own. As I listened to message after message, I realized that my family had been treating the fund as their personal bank account, making plans and commitments based on money they had not contributed. They had built their financial lives around my contributions, while simultaneously resenting my involvement in how that money was managed. At 8:30 a.m., I sent a single text message to the family group chat, honoring your decision to have me step away. Then I turned off my phone completely and got ready for work. At the office, my colleague Marcus noticed that I seemed unusually calm, despite obvious signs of stress. When he asked if everything was okay, I gave him a brief overview of what had happened. Marcus, who has his own complicated family dynamics, immediately validated my decision. "You did exactly the right thing," he said. "They cannot exclude you from decisions while expecting you to fund the consequences of those decisions. That is not how healthy families operate." Throughout the morning, I declined every call that came through to my work phone. I had said what I needed to say, and I was not ready to be guilted into reversing my decision. Every few hours, I would check my personal phone and see dozens of new missed calls and messages, but I did not respond to any of them. By afternoon, the news was spreading to extended family members. My cousin Rachel, who lives in California, called to ask what was going on because her mum had heard from Aunt Linda that there was some kind of family emergency involving money. Uncle Jim, Dad's brother, left a voicemail saying he did not understand the details, but hoped we could work things out. What my family was slowly beginning to understand was that I had been the primary financial foundation holding everyone together. Without the fund I had built and maintained, they were facing the reality of their actual financial situations. Amanda could not afford her medical expenses. Brandon did not have backup funding for school. My parents were living much closer to the edge than they had realized. The most telling moment came when I overheard Mom on a call with Aunt Linda that evening. A family friend had shared the story with me. "How did we not realize how much she was carrying? I thought everyone was contributing equally." That single comment revealed everything. They had never actually looked at the account statements. They had never added up the contributions. They had somehow convinced themselves that we were all equal partners in this fund, when in reality I had been supporting the entire family's financial security almost single-handedly. For 2 weeks, I did not respond to any family communications. I needed space to think clearly without the constant pressure of their panic and guilt tactics. During this time, I used the money from the closed fund to pay off my student loans, completely eliminating $400 in monthly payments from my budget. I also booked a solo vacation to Colorado for hiking and reflection. As I walked mountain trails and breathed clean air, I realized how much family drama had been consuming my mental energy. For years, I had been so focused on solving everyone else's financial problems that I had forgotten what it felt like to prioritize my own well-being. I started seeing a therapist who specialized in family dynamics and financial boundaries. Through our sessions, I began to understand that my role as the family's financial safety net had been unhealthy for everyone involved. I had enabled their financial dependence while sacrificing my own goals and dreams. Gradually, family members began reaching out individually with genuine apologies. Amanda was first calling to admit that Tyler's business idea had been really stupid and that she had been scared about money and took it out on me. She had broken up with Tyler after realizing that his get-rich-quick schemes were more important to him than her actual needs. Brandon called next, taking full responsibility for not speaking up when he should have. He admitted that he had felt guilty about how much I was contributing compared to everyone else, and that guilt had made him defensive when I tried to protect the money. Dad's call was the hardest one to receive. He cried as he apologized for staying silent during the family meeting. He explained that he had felt ashamed about how much the family relied on my income, and he did not know how to express that shame without seeming ungrateful. His silence had been about his own pride, not about agreeing with the others. Mom's apology was longer and more detailed. She had been so focused on keeping peace between Amanda and me that she lost sight of fairness and basic respect. She realized that excluding me from family decisions, while expecting me to fund those decisions, was fundamentally wrong. Even Aunt Linda eventually reached out, though her apology was less satisfying. She admitted that she had been influenced by her own financial stress and had seen Tyler's business idea as a potential solution to problems in her own life. Her thumbs-up reaction had been more about her own desperation than about genuine support for excluding me. Rebuilding these relationships took time and required establishing completely new boundaries. I started helping Amanda with her medical bills again, but as structured loans with clear repayment plans rather than gifts. I contributed to Brandon's final semester tuition, but only after he presented a detailed budget showing how he would cover future educational expenses. The family emergency fund remained permanently closed. Instead, I encouraged each family member to build their own emergency savings. I offered financial planning guidance to anyone who wanted it, but I was no longer responsible for solving everyone's money problems. Most importantly, I kept the Colorado mountain cabin rental for annual solo trips. That time alone had taught me the importance of maintaining my own identity, separate from my role as family caretaker. I needed regular breaks from family obligations to remember who I was when I was not solving everyone else's problems. Looking back now, I understand that my family's reaction that Thursday afternoon was not really about me being controlling. It was about their discomfort with depending so heavily on someone they also wanted to treat as an equal. They wanted my financial support without acknowledging the sacrifice and responsibility that came with providing it. The most important lesson I learned was that love and money should never be confused with each other. My financial contributions had been genuine expressions of love, but they had also created an unhealthy power dynamic that resentment was building around. By stepping away completely, I forced everyone to confront the reality of our situation and rebuild our relationships on more honest foundations. Tell me in the comments, have you ever been in a situation where your generosity was mistaken for control? How did you handle family members who expected financial support while resenting your input on financial decisions? Hit that like button if this story resonated with your own experiences, and please subscribe, because I share more stories about family dynamics and financial boundaries every week. Share this video with anyone who has struggled with setting healthy boundaries around money and family relationships. Thank you for listening to my story, and remember that sometimes the people we love most need to learn that respect is not just about blood relations, it is about recognizing the value someone brings to your life before it is gone. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next video. Sometimes the people we love most need to learn that respect is not just about blood relations, it is about recognizing the value someone brings to your life before it is gone. And sometimes walking away is the only way to show them what they almost lost forever.